Well, someone who was injured in that West Brom game, obviously, Andy Carroll is out again. He's been tremendously unlucky with injuries during his time at West Ham. Do you see his absence having a big impact on from now to the end of the season, Kenny?
Whatever you think of Andy Carroll, I mean, a fit Andy Carroll is an asset. Yeah, I think we've probably played our best football without him in the team. I think that's fair to say. But I think it was going back to the West Brom game at home when I was over there, and he scored 2 headers that probably no other player at the club would have done. And it just shows what he is valuable to us. But like I said, just like the result on the weekend, we know now that Andy's not going to be available for the rest of the season. They won't dwell on it. They'll go on. They've got players in at the club already that are probably sitting waiting for their chance, and now they've got that, and they've got an opportunity to have a run in the team. So, again, with Andy in the team, the way we play is a little bit different. They can tinker it. We can't do that now. So maybe they'll go back to a little bit more of a passing game, which obviously served them really well in the early part of the season.
Piers, would you agree with that? You're optimistic we can sort of rally around the squad we have without Carroll?
I think so. I think there's a fluidity about West Ham in recent matches when Carroll hasn't played. I mean, the recent home match we had against, I can't remember.
Man United.
Man United, sorry. Forgive me, in the first half, we looked fantastic, I thought. But we're going to miss him without question. I mean, I personally feel gutted for him. I think if we're feeling as bad as we are about it, I can only imagine how bad he and the club must feel. Yeah. I mean, I think he's a tremendous talent, actually, despite a lot of things that get said and written about him. I mean, the goal at Swansea summed up the technical ability he does have. But I think, there's no choice. Like Kenny says, there's games coming thick and fast. I think, ironically, with Carl nearly leaving the club now, this could be his opportunity to prove yet again just how valuable he is to West Ham.
Well, speaking on the players who could replace him in his absence, obviously the obvious names are Sacco and Valencia, but you've got Carl and then you've got Elliot Lee, who's been sort of loitering around the development squad for a long time. Fans have been calling for his inclusion just to give him a chance so we can actually see what he's got about him. Do you think this is maybe his last chance to prove himself in the Premier League?
Yeah, it's a strange one with Elliot because he has, like you say, he's been in and around that development side for probably a couple of seasons now. I've just come from a game today that he was involved in. Very lively, very sharp, and yeah, I'm sure he'll be thinking, I've got that's one player that sort of is not in his way now. So he's jumped up the pecking order, and it's a case of now, obviously persuading Sam to go with him. I'm sure he won't let anyone down. He's obviously a completely different player to Andy Carroll, but he brings his own. He's a very dynamic player, and maybe it suits the way that West Ham will probably play to have that type of player up there.
He's been likened in the past, Kenny, I've heard, to Cotti.
Yeah, he's that stature. He's that stature, very solid built, probably a little bit quicker than TC. But he knows where the goal is. He scored goals regularly, right through the youth teams into 18s, 21s football. So I know he's been out on loan as well. So he's been getting game time, in men's football, as you like. So there's a good opportunity for someone, and I'm sure someone like Elliot would thrive at the chance of taking it.
Well, Piers, there's nothing West Ham fans like more than a academy graduate coming through, as we've seen in the past. I mean, Noble and Tompkins are the current players. Do you think maybe with Lee there's a chance to turn a negative in Andy Carroll's injury into a positive and maybe get the fans back?
Oh, I'd love it. I think it'd be great. I mean, West Ham, you know better than anyone, Kenny. They love one of their own, if you like, and I think there's a sheer lack of numbers now up front. Hopefully, we'll give Elliot the chance, which he's never really had up until now. Everyone says he's got the technical ability and he can step up. So I'd say let's give him some game time. I mean, we were talking earlier, sort of off camera, about the impact it can have on players as well if they're not getting a chance. And I mean, I don't know how you find that now with players, but
well, especially I think in a way it sort of helped with the transfer window because I think if it happened in January, they would have gone out and got someone. And then what does it do? You then look at Elliot, and he would have ended up going out on loan, and who knows, might have got lost to it, or he might have gone somewhere and scored loads of goals, and he suddenly builds his confidence. But as it is, obviously West Ham can't bring anyone in. you know, they're going to have to go with the players already in the club. And Elliot, you know, Elliot is been in and around the club. You know, he's been in and around the first team, and supporters do like that.
Yeah.
You know, you look at, you know, the way they see, you know, Mark Noble, and you know, there's a real bond there. There's an affection towards him. Even more so now with you know, there's less and less players that are local, and not just at West Ham, at every club.
Yeah.
You know, so if they can latch on to one that can give them a little bit of hope that they know that they can call sort of their own, then that would be great. You know, great for the club, great for the player. So I'm all for it, yeah.
And then with Andy Carroll now, I mean, are you confident he can bounce back from this, Piers? Because, I mean, he's been in this situation a number of times before, but he's obviously a determined bloke who he has come back, and once he's given a stream of games, he's been doing really well this season. So do you think, I mean, this isn't the end for Andy Carroll at West Ham, is it?
Well, I hope not. I mean, looking at the Instagram photos he posted of his knee post the operation, I mean, Christ, that's not, you know, an insignificant operation. But I mean, look, as you say, he's bounced back before. I'm sure he can bounce back again. It does worry me that he's 26 and having had so many injuries now, whether at some point in the future that might have an impact. But I think West Ham, with Andy Carroll in the squad, if not the team, is a better place than not. And
I totally agree.
I think he's a great talent, as I say, I believe.